Hello folks, it's the EFE again. Welcome to another one of my videos. This is another model review where we look at some of the older models that are available on the second-hand market. In this one I'm going to look at the exclusive first editions EFE Bristol VR with Eastern Coachworks body. We're mainly going to focus on the Mark II VR, but I'll have a look at the variation between that and the Mark III and the way that EFE represented it. As I mentioned in previous reviews, EFE did like to show the variations that there were in real life. So I've got the box of the model somewhere in storage. This isn't it, this is off a Bristol low decker, but it's the same type. Cardboard outer with a plastic inner trim. And this is the model we're looking at, catalogue number 20301, released in December 1995. And this is the East Yorkshire Motor Services version, fleet number 928, registration DKH928L. As I mentioned in previous reviews, on early EFE releases didn't put registration plates. By this point, they started to put the registration plates on the standard releases, so this one's got them on, as you can see. So we'll have a look at the model first, and then we'll look at the variations between that and the Mark III. EFE made some curious choices with the Bristol VRs. So looking at it, it looks like a VR, but the first curious choice is this: they've actually put fixed windows, as in not opening, in the front on this. As indeed I think they did on most of the Mark II VRs. It's strange really, because the windows are a separate insert, the front windows are a separate piece. And on the Mark III I've got there, you can see that they've got the opening ones. So they did do the opening ones. The real vehicle in real life did have opening windows, so why they chose to do that I don't know. Moving down to the windscreen, the one that they photographed and measured up originally when they were going to do the casting must have had top mounted wipers. Most Bristol VRs had air operated wipers that were mounted at the bottom of the screen. A tiny handful of them had electric wipers that were mounted at the top, and unfortunately the one that they measured up must have had electric wipers. So every release they did had top mounted wipers, which does take away from the look of it slightly. Going down, the grille is actually modelled, but you can't really tell because of the dark blue background. You can't see the black bars of the grille on it. We'll have a look at the variation, as I say, between the Mark II and the Mark III in a bit. So yeah, generally it captures the look quite well. It's a bit of a shame about the top mounted wipers and the fixed windows, but you can't have it always. Again, going around the side, it does look like it should do. One of the other curious choices they made though was the windows. If you look at the hopper window there, it's quite large. The hopper takes up most of the window. Now that appeared on real VRs in about 1979. So it was only the later production of the Mark IIIs that had that. None of the Mark IIs would have had it unless they had a replacement window in. But again, EFE chose to do that on the entire release. So all the Mark IIs have got the later Mark III type windows, which is a bit of a jarring note. It's only a minor detail really, but it does take away slightly from the appearance. The grills here are printed on. If we go around the back, the engine ventilation grills there are part of the casting. All very nicely done there. That looks good from the back. Go around the offside again, you've got the larger hoppers taken away from it, but apart from that it's not too bad at all. Sorry, I'll just focus the camera there. Looking at the roof, panels nicely modelled, ventilators again along the cove panels there, and if I turn it over, you've got a bit of representation of the chassis there, the fuel tanks, things like that. So I've not got an EFE catalogue release of a Mark III. This one's been partly repainted and redecorated. I'll show you the difference. If you look at the grille of the Mark II, just try and get some light on it, you can see there's like a heavy cowl over the lights. And you can just about see it, I think, as well, the shape of the grille. There we go, it's better. Compare and contrast to the Mark III. It doesn't have the cowl over the lights, but the lights are on a kind of slightly raised area, and the grill's a different shape as well. So you can see EFE have modelled the variations there. They've also done the indicators differently. In actual fact, a lot of Mark IIs would have had just side lights up there, just one little round light, not two, and they would have had the indicators on the corner, but they've modelled a variation there that's got the indicators and side lights together. The Mark III's got the later square side lights and indicator units that appeared on the ones with the later windows. If we go around the back, the Mark II had a different engine cover. I've already mentioned the grills cast into this for engine ventilation, and you can see the engine cover and the shape of the lights there on a little sticky out bit. If you look at the Mark III, the lights are kind of in a recess and the engine cover is different as it was in real life. Also, the engine ventilation grills are gone. The Mark III's didn't have that. Instead they had a breather grill up there, which is modelled on the casting there. So again, EFE have kind of gone to town on the variations. The square lights on these again were from the later Mark III's, so that all fits together with the hopper windows and the side light indicator unit on the front that I mentioned. One thing that doesn't quite fit with the later Mark III is this bar across the engine cover there. On the early Mark III's it was like this, just a straight continuous bar like that. The ones produced about 1976. After that they cut away a little bit of the top of it, so the top kind of came in and went along and then came back up again, so they could fit a standard sized advert on. The bus industry asked them to just create a bigger space so they could fit the normal adverts in. So the EFE ones actually got the that bar from an earlier VR, but then the rest of the features from a later one, so it's a bit of a mishmash. But they are relatively minor little gripes of those. They've gone to town certainly on doing the variations. How they've done it, the front and the back, as you can just about see there, are separate units. You can actually take them off. If you take the bus to pieces and take the interior out, you'll see some little bolts holding them on. You can hit the bolts and they'll come off if you wanted to swap them. East Yorkshire, for example, had a Mark III that for many years ran with a Mark II front end, or lower front should I say, with the different headlights and grille. And I've seen a Mark II running with a Mark III lower front as well, front grille and headlights. Southern National had one like that, so if you wanted to model those two buses you could easily get two and just hammer the front grills off and swap them over. Now what I haven't done in this review is I haven't looked at the Mark I, because the Mark I that EFE did was a completely different casting. Apologies for the condition of this one, it's in the process of being painted. It's just got the first coat on there on the roof, as you can see. But as you can see there, it was a completely different vehicle. It was a one-piece casting, was the body, came off in one piece, whereas on the Mark II and the Mark III it splits halfway up. I don't know if you can see it on there. Yeah, you can see the join line there, so the upper deck and the lower deck are separate on the Mark II and Mark III. So I've not mentioned the Mark I because it's a completely different model, whereas these two are the same basic body, just with the variations of the lower front and the lower rear. So price wise, if you're lucky, you can find them for about £8, going up through sort of 10, through the teens. Again, if you want a more collectible one, you're into the 30s. There are certain releases that are above that. Some of them are more collectible than others. But if you just want a basic one to repaint and mess about with, around the £10–15 mark, plus postage, we're looking at something like that. Competent model. It's a bit of a shame, as I say, about the little detail niggles that I've mentioned. If you've got any spares box and bits and pieces, you could always put opening windows into the front of the Mark II if you wanted to. I'm sure I've actually got a set of opening windows somewhere in my spares box. But again, it's only a minor gripe. It's a nice model overall. It does capture the look of the Bristol VR. Travelled many thousands of miles in these things over the years. They were the standard type of bus on my local route when I was growing up. And they were some of the first vehicles I could recognise when I was a little kid, because at the front of both decks it said Coachwork by Eastern Coachworks, Lowestoft, and at the back they all had the Bristol VR grille. But yeah, nice model, does capture the look. As I say, there are some minor little niggles on it, but they are only minor. Overall it captures the look of the thing, so yeah, go out and buy one. Repaint it if you want to, put it on your model railway, put it in your display case, a worthy addition to any collection. And as always, thank you for joining me. If you have enjoyed the video, please press the like button so more people can find it, and please do consider subscribing for more of similar content and various other things. But as always, thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.